Ladies and gentlemen, the Japanese Media and Culture Club welcomes you to Go! Fashion Japan. At this time, please remember to silence your cell phones. There are club members armed with candlesticks stationed around the theater. Cell phone offenders will be strictly reprimanded. Please be reminded that there is no intermission, and contrary to fire code, we have already locked the doors behind you. Enjoy.
Historically, Japan has been known as an isolated country, but if anything, Japanese fashion has been an indicator of just the opposite.
The Japanese are great cultural borrowers, but far from simply borrowing, Japanese fashions have always been a synthesis of outside influences and the native Japanese aesthetic.
Difficult to define, fashion in Japan has always overreached cultural bounds, yet found a way to be distinctly and undeniably Japanese.
Most of Japanese fashion history has been dominated by the kimono.
Derived from the words kiru, to wear, and mono, thing, can be translated plainly as things to wear.
Though today kimono refers almost exclusively to the robe, in the past it referred to any article of clothing.
While the kimono is the most recognizably traditional Japanese fashion, kimono robes today are of a design only 250 years old, and their evolution has spanned many more centuries.
Before Japanese kimono came onto the scene, Heian courtiers wore a modified version of Chinese robes with long sleeves that were open on both sides. This fashion, called junihitoe, consisted of 12 to 20 layers. The open sleeves allowed the wearer's masterful layering of color to be exhibited. Color coordination was strictly observed, and the colors allowed depended on the seasons, the status of the woman in the court, and her age. A mistaken color choice could shame a woman for the entire season.
To fasten these many layers, women used a sash, the precursor to the modern obi, but the method of tying was not standardized, and it was about half the width. The bow could be tied in front or back depending on the preference of the wearer, whereas today, the bow is only tied at the back. Underneath they wore a red hakama, a type of pleated, divided skirt tied at the waist. As Heian court garb became more and more cumbersome, and stories of women drowned on boat trips by the weight of their own clothing circulated, the Kamakura age saw a change in style. The long Chinese sleeves were sewn up on the sides since ladies no longer needed to show off layers of kimono. Thus, the kosode was born.
Ko, meaning small, and sode, meaning sleeve, kosode referred not to the length of the sleeves, which was still variable depending on age, marital status, and social class, but to the opening through which the wrist passed. Instead of being open on both sides, this uniquely Japanese garment was now sewn shut and could be used as a pocket.
Now that women could no longer depend on layering kimono to display their wealth, status, and age, kosode gave rise to new fashions in kimono. Through intricate dyeing techniques, embroidery, gold leafing, metallic threads, increasingly wider and ostentatious obi, and obi decoration, women derived new ways to use their clothing as an expression of their identity.
Over these kosode, women wore long red hakama, which had been worn underneath Heian court robes. This style came in and out of fashion, developing in the Heian period, becoming popular in the Kamakura among wives of the samurai, disappearing during the Edo period, and re-emerging in the Meiji. Also popular with the samurai wives were two sumptuous overrobes, the karaori and the uchikake. The karaori, while no longer worn by the end of the Momoyama period, later became part of the No costume tradition, and can still be seen today in modern performances. It is a woven textile with brocaded polychrome patterns. The silk wefts are often so long that motifs look embroidered instead of woven. Karaori is only worn by female characters in no plays. Karaori that include red coloring are called iroiri, or with red, and are worn by younger female characters, and those that do not are known as ironashi, or without red, and are used for female characters middle-aged or older. For the traditional role of Rokujo no Ue in the play Dojoji, the karaori is iroiri, and when she is revealed as a demonic serpent, she wears an inner robe patterned with glittering gold triangles that represents the scales of the serpent. She also wears a hanya, or female demon mask, and carries an uchizue, or demon's mallet. Where karaori has been integrated into the traditional theater, the uchikake has become the traditional wedding kimono. The uchikake was developed in the Kamakura period, but was worn until the Edo period by the wives of daimyo and samurai for special occasions and ceremonies.
Today, the uchikake has transformed into the traditional bridal costume. This practice developed in the Edo period. It is made of wadded silk and features long flowing sleeves, and is usually embroidered with auspicious symbols such as cranes, turtles, chrysanthemums, or pines.
The kosode underneath, called kakeshita, is always white, but the uchikake itself may be colored or white as well, and it is worn without the red hakama. Since brides will only wear uchikake once in their life, a $1 million industry has grown up around rental services for this kimono. Brides today are compelled to hire 1 to 2 professional dressers to properly outfit them for their wedding day, since the addition of the wide, formal maru obi and elaborate hairstyle called bunkin takashimada in the Edo period has made the proper wear of this kimono impossible without professional aid. The bunkin takashimada hairstyle is adorned with beautiful combs and pins collectively called kanzashi. During the ceremony, a white wedding hood called tsuno kakushi is meant to hide 2 front tsuno, or horns, to symbolize obedience.
The most important kimono for the mother and close female relatives of the bride and groom are the tomesode. There are 2 types, colored and black. In the past, black was the traditional color of formality. The black, or kuro tomesode, can only be worn to weddings and is usually worn by the mothers of the bride and groom. Thus, this kimono is the most formal type for married women. As such, it includes 5 family crests, or mon.
The sleeves are shorter with smaller openings in order to discourage flirting with other men. Longer sleeves are thought to attract attention. In addition, both kuro tomesode and iro tomesode have patterns only below the waist and never on the sleeves.
The zori shoes worn with the kuro tomesode must either be silver or gold. Iro tomesode, on the other hand, is colored and can be adorned with 3 crests, which make the kimono less formal, or 5, the most formal. The shoes should also be gold or silver, but for more casual events can be other colors. The sisters or close female relatives of the bride and groom would find it appropriate to wear these kimono, but iro tomesode may be worn to formal functions other than weddings.
When men aren't wearing Western suits to formal functions, which they usually are, they can wear montsuki. From weddings to graduation ceremonies, the montsuki is worn by men for ceremonial occasions. Both the kimono and haori, or kimono jacket, are made of black habutae, silk, and are decorated with 5 family crests, or mon, making this costume the most formal of men's wear. It can be worn without hakama, and it can be worn in other colors such as yellow or blue, but when in black and when worn with hakama, this costume denotes the highest formality.
Hakama date back to the 3rd century and originally referred to any type of baggy pants or skirt-like bottoms.
Aikido hakama appear around the 12th century when Bushi warriors began to take control of the country during the Kamakura period. This began with umanori, riding pants. By the Edo period, these horse riding pants became normal daily wear of the samurai class, as well as being used in formal dress called kamishimo. Today, modern practitioners of the sword arts like kendo and iaido also wear hakama when practicing sword forms or in competition.
With montsuki, often a man will hold a white folding fan. The folding fan is a purely Japanese invention. Chinese fans were round and rigid, unable to fold. The origin of the fan is derived from a court tradition of writing court edicts onto pieces of rice paper glued to long sticks, which, for convenience of carrying, were bound together at the bottom and could be spread out from a fixed point. Because of its association with court decrees, it has become a symbol of masculine authority.
Women stopped wearing hakama around the 14th century. They switched to wearing the kosode alone, but they began wearing hakama again after the abolition of the samurai class during the Meiji period. Today, most women wear hakama only for formal or traditional occasions like New Year's, tea ceremony, and funerals. Shrine priestesses called miko, who clean Shinto shrines and help in performing religious ceremonies, also don the red hakama with a white kosode seen in Heian, Kamakura, and Meiji-era fashions. More commonly, girls wear them to their college graduations with a long-sleeve kimono called furisode.